ate my strawberries. I'm mentally prepared. I'm gonna put this over here so I don't knock it down or whatever. Oh, I could have water. Yay, water. Ah. So refreshing.
I deserve this water.
Just talked for an hour. I don't think I yelled enough as Akito. If I had to critique my performance, it's that I don't yell enough as Akito.
Akito does a lot of quiet threatening.
I was thinking
occasional
that,
shouting, but
when I listened to the way the dialogue the person acted in the anime, I was like, oh, I screamed this thing and talked this thing, and she talks these things and screams these things. And I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're listening to Let's Stay Together, a podcast about Fruits Basket by Natsuki Takaya. I'm Ellen.
And I'm Kayla.
I don't know why I sounded confused about my own name.
Am I though?
I could feel my vocal cords doing something weird, and I was like, that sounds like a question in my head. But yeah, who are we? I mean, there's philosophical debates to be had. Today we're discussing chapters 123 to 125. Woo! And we're going to do our summary and then discussion, then spoilery discussion, like we always do. I don't know if anything special was spoiled by this, but we'll talk about it. The end. I mean, okay. Chapter 123 opens with the somewhat ambiguous narration, I wish I could have lived my life without making any wrong turns. At the hospital, Tohru's grandpa tells Yuki that he can go home. Tohru's family will take everything from here. Yuki says that he'll come back tomorrow to explain what happened. And Grandpa Honda tells him to make sure he goes to school or Tohru will worry. And Yuki smiles ruefully, as everyone does in this series. Before he leaves, Grandpa Honda asks about that orange-headed boy. And Yuki remembers Kyo standing sullenly as Tohru was loaded into the ambulance. He's just an idiot, sir, Yuki says. He's stupid and has rotten timing. He lost his nerve and made her cry. He's the one guy who can do that better than anyone, even me. And then realizing that perhaps he went overboard with the rage in front of Tohru's grandpa is like, but then Tohru's grandpa, he says about that and smiles a knowing smile. At the main house, Kagura and Kisa check with Jirei about Tohru. Tohru checks on Akito, who says that she's fine, but sits sullenly and quietly in her room. The narration from before continues, I wish I could have lived in a kind world without anxiety or fear, without hurting other people, without hurting myself, only doing the right things. We see Momiji, Hiro, and Rin huddled on the floor, sketchbook cast to the side, clearly upset about the news, and we see Kyo sitting on the balcony looking out at the night. The narration continues, I wish I could have followed the shortest path to the kind world I wish for. But that's wrong, that's stupid. When it comes to other people's lives, you can say that irresponsible dreck as much as you want. Yuki returns to Shigeru's house and finds Haru there. The door was unlocked, apparently. This house is pretty loose, Haru says, and Yuki's like, don't be vulgar, and then karate chops his forehead. A trait that I'm sure he picked up from Kakeru. Haru heard what happened. Everyone's talking about it at the main house. You should have seen Rin, he says. She went pale, then white, then worse pale. See it next time. And Yuki's like, that's not very nice. Oh, and her breasts grew again, Haru adds thoughtfully. Are you trying to lighten the mood, brag, or just start on the sexual harassment? Yuki shouts. Haru tilts his head to the side. In a ghosty panel way, he adds, can't it be all three? All three, Yuki says, sweating, and then he plops down. After the world's longest day. Haru obviously came to check on him and asked about Tohru. Haru says that Kyo didn't tell him anything. Yuki asks if he's upstairs, and Haru says yeah. He looks like his soul flew out of him, though. He didn't go with her? Kyo has his own pain and circumstances, Yuki says. We all know that, but... And then he stands in a rage-filled haze, strong enough to create a breeze that blows back Haru's hair, and he adds, none of his baggage is important right now, and storms off to talk to Kyo. Have fun, Haru says. Shigeru arrives at home and is about to say something, but stops when Yuki passes him in his rage in the hallway and is like, what the heck? And then Haru welcomes him back. Upstairs, Yuki slams the open Kyo's bedroom door. Why didn't you go to the hospital? He says. Kyo doesn't answer. You know you're the worst person I know. Say what you want, Kyo says. Even if I was there, I'd only hurt her. I can't protect her. She's better off with you. Is that so? Yuki says. He comes around and stands above Kyo menacingly. He remembers Tohru's grandpa saying with his big smile, about that, what an awful thing. You should really let him have it. The punches fly, and they're so loud that Shigeru flinches downstairs. This is why I hate boys, he says, and Haru, completely unfazed, is like, can I order pizza? Upstairs, the fight intensifies. You can't protect her? What the hell do you mean? Yuki says. You mean you should have been able to catch her when she was about to fall off a cliff? Would you have felt better if you could have rescued her when she was about to be hit by a car or something? That's incredible. Who the hell are you? Are you some kind of superhero? You're just a stupid cat. Kyo turns and stands, finally pulled into the fight. Shut up, damn it, he shouts. I never said I wanted that. You're the one who's so wonderful. I wish I could have been like that. Someone like you. I want to be like you. Yuki remembers Kyo running away from him as a kid after he found the hat. More punches fly, and downstairs Haru asks if he can add nuggets to the order. I love everything about that. Upstairs, Yuki shouts, "Cut the crap! Stop screwing around!" and he pins Kyo down. "You son of a... It's the same for me! I wanted to be like you!" Kyo's completely taken aback, and Yuki continues, "I aspired to be you, so how can you just... Why are you the first one to say, don't throw that crap at me, you idiot! Stop screwing around!" Yuki pulls back and holds his shaking fist. "But we can only be ourselves. We can't be anyone but ourselves, and we have to accept that." He kicks in a nearby bedroom door and shouts, "You were protecting her! Open your eyes! You were! You made her laugh. You made her happy. Maybe it was only little things. I mean, it didn't have to mean being a superhero. You didn't have to be that strong. When you were with her, just look at her. She's always smiling around you. Do you think that I could make her like that? I swear you're so thick. There are some things on this planet that only you can do, so stop making her cry. Get your act together." Yuki pants, and Kyo stands without responding. "What are you standing here for?" Yuki asks, crossing his arms impatiently. "You said you wanted to be like the almighty me, right? So listen to me, you stupid cat." Kyo grimaces and leaves. Tears well in Yuki's eyes, and he remembers Kyo's words, "I wanted to be like you." "Damn it, I hate that bastard," he says. We see the narration continue. "I wish I could have lived my life without making any wrong turns, but that's impossible. A path like that doesn't exist. We fail, we trip, we get lost, we make mistakes, and little by little, one step at a time, we push forward. It's all we can do, on our own 2 feet. Even if we get a little banged up, someday we'll reach something, we'll reach someone. We pray." Haru finds Yuki in the hallway and asks if he's okay, and he smiles, a relieved smile. Haru, Yuki, and Shigure sit at the table and eat pizza. Shigure asks where Kyo is. Yuki says, "Probably at the hospital." "Really?" Shigure says, "but visiting hours ended a long time ago." "Did you know that when you shoved him there?" Haru asks. "Who can say?" Yuki says. "But normal people would realize that, wouldn't they? He's just so unbelievably stupid. I hope Uotani-san and Hajime-san let him have it too." "Wonderful, now we have a black Yuki-kun," Shigure says. The chapter closes at the hospital. Kyo kneels on the sidewalk in front of the door with a sign that clearly states that visiting hours are over. I fell for it. "No, wait, just calm down for a second, Kyo," he says to himself, and cries chibi tears of regret. The chapter ends on the narration, "Come on, it's time to start walking." Chapter 124 opens with Akito hovering outside the door to Kureno's hospital room. We cut to school, where Haru and Yuki chat. The tests on Tohru are almost complete, he says, so anyone will be able to visit her soon. Momiji skipped class to go see her, it turns out, and Yuki says that her room is sure to be flooded with guests. "Yeah, still," Haru says, "it's going to be pretty hard for Kyo." Which turns out to be true, because across the hallway they observe Uo and Hana in a miasma of rage, blocking Kyo from leaving the school. "I want to go visit her at the hospital. Can I get through?" he asks. "Did you hear that, Arisa? It seems like he truly wishes to go," Hana says. "How very kind of him." "I guess we had him all wrong," Uo says. "That really cleans out the heart, doesn't it, Hanajima? Aren't you just falling in love with him despite yourself?" Then they tee-hee and ha-ha their way away. "And hey," Kyo says, "if you've got something to say..." "You got some nerve thinking you could just see her right now, you stupid lust-filled cretin. Come here so I can hang you up and swing you around and send you flying. Hanajima, my spear! Bring my spear!" Uo shouts, while everyone else watches nervously. "Shh, you mustn't, Arisa," Hana says. "You'll leave physical evidence." "Poor thing getting scratched up," Uo says. "But that's not even the problem here." "I know," Kyo says. "Oh, you know?" she says. "Would someone who knows look her in the face and say, 'I'm disillusioned'? How do you know that?" Kyo says. "Oh, right," Yuki says, looking thoughtful. "I guess I told them." And with the cheeky as fuck smile, he adds, "Sorry, friend, I didn't know it would incur this much wrath. Forgive me?" And with that, Uo and Hana forbid him to go see Tohru. "Simply apologizing without a thought would mean nothing but a nuisance," Hana says. "There's no meaning in it because Tohru-kun doesn't blame you. Think, is that what Tohru-kun would want? If you're truly sorry, there are other things that you should be doing, aren't there?" He remembers Tohru lying on the ground about to pass out and telling him, "It's okay." For example, Uo teases, "You could be singing your swan song." Nuo and Hana laugh, but Kyo says she is right. There are other things he needs to sort out. Yuki, Hana, and Uo eye him with curiosity. It's about damn time," Uo says, and smacks him in the chest and sasses him with pointed finger. "Just hurry up and be a man already." He passes Haru and Yuki, and Haru is like, "You're gonna listen to them and not see her? Man, you are dumb." And Kyo is like, "I know." And Yuki leaves. At the hospital, Momiji notices Akito, sitting dejectedly and teary-eyed on a bench outside. He approaches and asks if she came to see Kureno or Tohru, and Akito doesn't reply. Momiji says they're both okay, and that's what's important. Akito remembers visiting Kureno. "I heard a lot happened after that." "Akito, are you alright?" Kureno asks. In the present, she says to Momiji that Kureno could have blamed her. Why didn't he? Is he stupid? He just forgives people no matter what. What's wrong with that, Momiji asks. Thanks to both of them being stupid, you're not being blamed, so isn't it nice that you can take advantage of their stupidity? Momiji looks over and asks why Akito is crying. Akito remembers again visiting Kureno. I wondered what Kureno would do if I said that I wasn't okay. Would he come back? Would he come back to my side again? That's what it seemed like. I think that's the kind of person Kureno just is. He's indulgent and kind. He's so kind. I think that for a long time I was just killing him. I hate it. I hate myself, Akito says to Momiji, sobbing. And she remembers visiting him again. She rests her head on his bed, and he pats her head. I'm sorry, she thinks. I can't undo what I did, and my apology doesn't mean anything. Still, he listens and accepts it. Why couldn't I do anything but hurt him? Okay, Momiji says in the present. Then from now on, you have to take really good care of him. Maybe it's stupid to some people, but if it's not stupid to you, then it's fine. Take really good care of him, that's all. Momiji hands Akito a handkerchief and smiles reassuringly. He sits beside her. It's like The Very Foolish Traveler, he says. It's a story. Want to hear it? Once you hear it, I bet you'll want to run and go see Tohru. At the main house, Shigure and Tohru remark that Akito really went to visit Kureno by herself. But it's interesting because they still refer to Akito as him, which is weird, at least in the English version. I don't know if it's out loud. Anyway, Tohru asks if something happened with Tohru too, and Shigure is like, I guess. We see Akito enter Tohru's room at the hospital, and Akito narrates, she sat beside me, not far away, not above, just close by. She talked to me. She told me that I was there. At the main house, Tohru asks Shigure, did everything go the way you planned? Huh? He says, clues spacing out about Akito. Oh, I'm actually feeling a little bad about some things. And Tohru is like, a little? I guess you could say that I've learned to compromise a little, Shigure says. I've made progress, you know. At the hospital, Akito looks away sheepishly, then notices that Tohru has extended her hand, the bandage from Akito's attack clearly visible. Akito smiles, and the chapter closes on her coming closer, hand also extended to Tohru. That's the end of 124. Chapter 125 opens at the student council. Kakeru says that he heard that Tohru was in the hospital. Where'd you hear that? Yuki asks. Yesterday some guys from class said that the orange stud was being blamed for it, Kakeru explains. Oh, that, Yuki says with a dark smile. Union, wow, that smile's dark as hell, Kakeru says. Kakeru says that he should have said something. Yuki says it's not really the topic that you should start a conversation with. Besides, Hana-san probably doesn't want people worrying over her, he says. Kakeru asks if it's really Kyo's fault. No, Yuki says. There was just a little accident, but she's already stable. Machi looks concerned in the background. What's wrong? Are you bottling something up? Kakeru asks. You want to cry in my manly bosom? And Yuki's like, I'm gonna punch you into the sun. You're scary and mean, Kakeru says. He grabs Nao's head and noogies him. Yuki says he's not bottling anything up. Yuki thinks back to the fight with Kyo, and he thinks that actually, I wasn't holding it as much as I thought, and I wasn't depressed. So to be honest, I'm a little proud of myself. I still have the same weaknesses I always did, but still, I wonder if something was finally able to change. If it did, I had the support of other people. It wasn't through my power alone. Like Kakeru. He's one of them, he narrates as Kakeru karate chops Nao in the head.
Supportive.
Yes, very supportive. Karate chopping is supportive, everybody knows that. And, Yuki thinks, looking over at Machi. Kimi's been wondering for a long time now, Kimi says, of course. What's your new relationship with this Honda girl? Yuki's like, huh? She's his mama, Kakeru explains nonchalantly as if it makes the most sense in the world, and Kimi's like, what? Oh, come on, Kakeru's grossing me out. That's not funny, Kakeru. She protected little Union when he was weak as a baby deer, Kakeru explains, and Yuki's like, you're starting to piss me off. Does that mean that she's Union's girlfriend? Kimi asks. No, didn't you hear? Kakeru tries to explain again. She's his mom. Machi, of course, doesn't contribute anything and stands silently in the corner. That doesn't make any sense, Kimi says. Yuki's like, please spare me. But Kimi can understand the goodness of a papa, she says. I don't think that's what he meant, Yuki says. Kimi-chan's such a big girl now, Kakeru says. As the kids continue to argue, Machi looks down sort of sullenly. We transition away to where Kakeru has been shopping and found the perfect gift for Tohru, which is apparently a CD. Yuki asks how he has chosen it, and he says that when he doesn't know what to give someone, he just gives them something that he would like, which is a great tactic, ? Yuki asks if he'll really go see her, and he says that he will. Komaki wants him to. He asks if that's a problem, and Yuki hesitates and thinks that he just doesn't want Tohru's family to see Kakeru as his friend. Check it out, they have a porn section. We can't go in, though, he says. After they leave the store, Kakeru confirms that Yuki's not coming. Yuki says that he's planning to see her tomorrow, but maybe he will go with Kakeru. But you can't come, Kakeru complains, and Yuki's like, what? I'm a different person in front of Honda-san. Anyway, thanks for coming along with me, he says, and he turns to leave. Yuki's like, what? Hey, Yuki. Good work, man, he says as he leaves. Yuki looks surprised, but then as Kakeru walks away, he smiles. I wonder if he realizes how much he just said there, he says out loud. Yuki thinks, I'm still thankful that I have someone worrying about me and supporting me. For that reason, I want to be someone who can stand up to his own weaknesses. Even in places like these, surrounded by crowds of people, crowds used to make me wonder how many people would notice if I disappeared. I used to mull that kind of thing over constantly once upon a time. But now I'm a little different. While Yuki passes by strangers on the street and passes many stores, he notices something in a window and goes to talk to the shopkeeper about it. He asks if it's whatever it is in the store is real, and shopkeeper says that it is. Yuki says that he'll take it. His cell phone rings and he answers it, and turns out that it's Machi. On the other end of the line, Machi hesitates and apologizes for calling him suddenly. She says that she has something to give him. Yuki thinks, it's not like that. It doesn't have to be a lot of people. Even if it's just one person, that's enough. Yuki says that he has something to give to her as well, and so they decide to meet. Yuki thinks, having one person is an incredible thing, because then it can't be zero. I was happy. I was happy then too. I was so happy it tickled. In the midst of all these people, she singled me out and found me. And it's the same thing now. Having someone other than yourself thinking of you, looking for you, you can't take that for granted. Yuki goes to meet Machi in the station. He looks around as many people pass and tries to find her. When he sets eyes on her, he smiles and her eyes light up too. He thinks it's a miraculous, blessed thing. Once they meet, Machi says that Machi apologizes and says she wasn't sure she should wait for tomorrow. I thought it might not be fresh anymore tomorrow or something, she says. Yuki wonders what she's talking about. Anyway, here's a gift for Honda-san, she says. Handing him a small bag. It would be weird for me to give it to her, so will you do it for me? Yuki says it's not a problem, but you went to all that trouble. It wasn't. Anyway, I didn't know what to get, she says, so I got her a bath set. It's good for bad backs and stiff shoulders and stuff. Is that something you'd like, Machi? He asks. Huh? How'd you know? She says. And he's like, you're just like your brother. Yuki says that he'll be happy to give it to her, and then Machi hesitantly hands him a very large bag. Here, this is for you, President. And Yuki's like, for me? He opens the bag, and it's fertilizer. I just saw it, she says, while shopping. It was a coincidence. It was in front of the shop that I passed. They said it was really good, so... And I was already there. You said something about it before, that you wanted some, so... And she starts to trail off. Yuki remembers them speaking together outside. He thinks, I bet it was heavy, imagining her carrying it. I get it, he says. I get that's what you meant by you wanted it to be fresh. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Machi's like, huh? And she remembers the conversation with the clerk that said it's really good, but it has to be fresh, and it might lose its freshness, thinking that maybe he was teasing her. Yuki thanks her. I love it, honestly. I guess it's my turn, he says. Here's a gift. Machi's like, what? She opens the bag and reveals the same Mogeta figure that Ayame had before, the large one that he had gregariously defaced. This is, Machi says, and she trails off. Yuki says it was a coincidence, but he found it. They said it's the real thing. Wasn't it expensive, she says, eyes wide, holding it close. No, it was a fair price, he says. She looks down at it, and then picks it up and looks at it from below. Machi, you're making the same face as Mogeta, he says. Machi hugs it tight and says thank you. Hey, Machi, you know Yuki says, but the wind blows away one of the bags from the gifts. He goes to catch it. I wanted to thank her. Honda-senpai, I mean, Machi says. I know we don't have a relationship or anything, and I'm probably butting in, but I'm really happy that someone like you exists in this world. And if she was protecting you, I just wanted to thank her, she says. President, even if you really are weak, like a baby deer or whatever, I think it's because you're like that you notice someone like me and talk to me. I'm happy, really. I'm so glad that you were there for me. Yuki remembers Haru encouraging him. It's because you're like that, Yuki, that I know that there's someone out there who'll understand you, and someday you'll find each other. Yuki returns to Machi, who started crying, and gently touches her cheek. Right, he says, and here she is. Machi looks up at him, and smiles a soft smile and continues to cry, and Yuki starts to cry too. Thank you for finding me, he says. She takes his hand. Yuki remembers Ayame's words. I think that weakness and kindness that you have are very precious. At the hospital, Kakeru has met Hattori, Ayame, and Shigure. Ayame sees him sadly, and Kakeru asks if he's caught a cold. We're in a hospital. You want to get that checked, he says. No, not to worry. Is it not said that a sneeze is a sign that one's being talked about? Besides, I will trust my body to none but Tori-san. You should get your head properly examined at least once, Hattori says. Hey, what'd you do to get so good looking? Kakeru asks while Shigure sleeps in the corner.
Kakeru just chilling with the Mabudachi
I
train
know.
at the hospital.
He belongs with them. He's an honorary Mabudachi. I think we talked about this before. Elsewhere at the train station, Machi comments with a smile, "It feels like we're crying in our corner of the world," and Yuki smiles too. "Yeah, come on," he says. He thinks, "Let's go and get a little closer to the middle. This time it's the two of us." He takes her hand and they leave together. Chapter closes on them looking at each other longingly in the eyes and holding hands and leaving the train station. That blessing is a miracle. That's it for volume 21. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
There's actually a lot of different stuff happened this time, so we're I have no regrets though, because the next things are kind of related. We talked about this before. That's why everything is sectioned this way at the end of this story that we're getting close to. We're done with volume 21. Wow.
Yay.
Or we're done. Are we done with the volume 11? No, we're halfway through the special edition volume 11. So, but there's only one special edition left, and there's 2 volumes of the original edition left.
Yeah,
So
there's
exciting.
like one full-size volume and one
Oh, there's
thinner
23.
volume.
That's right. There's like the little short one. Yes.
Yeah.
It was a good time. So there's a couple different things that happened. We had like Akito trying to go and make amends for things, and everybody talking about what happened after. And also Kyo getting sashed, Akito going and making amends, and like talking to Kureno, specifically mostly about Kureno, and Momiji finds her. And then there was the last chapter was kind of a one-off. It was about Yuki and Machi, which was adorable.
And you got one last hurrah of property damage.
Yes! I was honestly really excited about that. I was like, is he kicking? He's kicking the door! This is like this is a great reveal. One of the best things in this series was that was revealed. I mean, we kind of saw it like playing out up until now, but it was finally revealed to Yuki and to Yuki and Kyo, to each other, that they wanted to be like each other, and that was part of what was like, fueling their hatred of each other, their outward facing hatred of each other.
Yeah, I think this confrontation between Yuki and Kyo is one of the best like parts of the series.
I agree with you. I'm sorry, I'm just stretching. I'm far away from the microphone. I also thought you might have something else to say, so I didn't say.
Well, I was waiting until you were.
I'm good. Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it's one of those like really long running kind of character threads, I guess, with them quote unquote hating each other, and like it's been like obvious from early on that it's like out of like at first it might have been called like jealousy, but like it's become more and more obvious that it's like because they like each of them has traits that the other admires and like wanted to be that kind of person, and so like, that just kind of grew into resentment over time. And so,
it seemed like jealousy, and it turned out to be it seemed like enviousness and jealousy.
It was like in the chapter where we saw like Yuki's like flashback to like meeting Kyo for the first time. There's like a line in there that's something about like admiration turned into jealousy. Or something.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was a good line. And also the way that's presented in the story to us is like, oh, it's like the obvious, like the cat and the rat have to fight, and then it becomes like Kyo is like he wants to be part of the zodiac with the bed and like the fighting, and that's like kind of in the middle of the story because it's in the B track that's revealed that they have the bet. And then we just got the turn on that, which is that really Kyo was just using his like quote unquote hatred of Yuki to kind of like not address his other feelings that he had, right?
Yeah.
And that he wants to be, it's obvious that he's like jealous of Yuki and he wants to be more like him.
And yeah, like we've had it clearly stated from Yuki's point of view that he had, wanted to be like Kyo when he was younger, and that's like grew into this, weird almost hatred.
Yeah.
At their time now, like he's admitted that to himself, but we haven't really seen that from Kyo's perspective, and so it's kind of fun with him being the first one to actually say it out loud, which makes Yuki angry.
I know, I think that's hilarious. I've kind of forgot about that specific part where I was like, Yuki's so pissed off that Kyo said it. That's really funny.
Yeah, he's like, I spent all this time, all this self-reflection.
He's like, in typical fucking idiot Kyo fashion, he just barges in with
stumbles right into it.
Yeah, exactly. was really good. The whole scene where they're like arguing and they're like, I wanted to be like you, I wanted to be like you. Oh, sorry. And Yuki also really touches a nerve where he's like, oh, what do you think you can save her from a car accident? That would make you feel better? And he's like, what? Like, that's how it gets Kyo, like, his interest peaked into the fight, right? Where he actually starts to engage what seems like we don't see all of it because we get the cutaways, all the punching with Shigure being like, I hate boys and stuff like that. Yeah. Which is also great, but it seems like that's when Kyo actually starts to, like, he verbally responds and starts to fight back, which is fun, which is, you know, but it's also ridiculous. His guilt over not being able to save Tohru's mom and not being able to do anything about Tohru it's crazy. Like, you can't stop random things from happening. So
yeah, I love Yuki just being like, wow, that's amazing. Are you a fucking superhero?
Yeah, so good. Yuki is at peak sass in these 3 chapters, but specifically in that one where he's like, what, you think you're fucking Superman? Like, you think that would make you feel better? You just, like, saved her from getting crushed by a bus or, like, a falling building? No. It's like, and then he's like, open your fucking eyes. Like, you were protecting her by keeping her happy and making her smile and all this other stuff. Like, just the everyday things that people do that give people a good fucking life. Come on, Kyo.
Yeah.
Tohru was deeply sad when you met her. And so are you. And it's like, now, like, your presence deeply impacted her. You think negatively, but Yuki's like, can't you see that it's, like, a good thing? Anyway, very interesting. In a shouty way. Kyo only learns by shouting. I mean, you know.
He's got to get the sense literally knocked into him.
By literally everyone.
Yeah.
I very much enjoy the gang bullying by Hana and Uo afterward, too. Yeah.
I love how, like, he's, like, not that shocked or upset by it either. He's just kind of like, so this is happening.
Yeah. He's also like, if you have something to say, just, like, say it. Like, he knows that he knows, you know. I feel like if this happened and you were Kyo and you went to school the next day, you'd just be like, what the hell? I love Yuki's campaign to also make it worse, too. By being like, he's like, oh yeah, I guess I told them that you said this awful thing. Last time we speculated about how much Yuki heard, and we were like, oh, I don't know if you heard anything. But he clearly heard that, which is the most important thing, obviously. Yeah. It's just, I'm disillusioned. Like, I was like, bring me my spear. Anyway.
But yeah, like we don't see that much of them, like, after the fight, but it's, like, obvious that this is, like, all the tension has come to a head and it's kind of past now. Like,
yeah, it seems like.
Just in those, like, short interactions in school, like, it's not, like, hostile like it used to be. Like, even him, like, obviously, like, making things worse for Kyo. He's just like, oh, gee, I guess I did. And he's just like, uh-huh.
Yeah, then he normally would have been like, you bastard, or whatever.
Yeah.
Started fighting with him again. But Kyo is just like, yeah, I accept for my stupidity.
Yeah. He's just like, okay, that's fair, basically.
Yeah. And yeah, also, of course, at the Haru's like, oh, did you know that the hospital visiting hours were closed when you, like, egged him on to go there? And Yuki's like, who can say? Like, yeah, of course he did.
Yeah.
All of this is an orchestrated punishment.
Yeah.
He's like, Kyo, I want you to stop being an idiot. I love Kyo at the hospital being like, just calm down.
Yeah. I love how Sean with, like, his little, like, kitty ears and tail out.
Yes.
Just slumped on the sidewalk.
Like, chibi tears of regret. Or whatever I said before. They don't really get drawn with their, like, chibi, like, animal stuff very much anymore.
It's, like, mostly Kyo and Momiji who get that.
Yeah, Momiji with his happy bunny ears and Kyo with his, like, grumpy kitty face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we say anything else about Kyo? I mean, I feel like what we saw was just his torment at the hands of many people.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like his kind of, like, resolve at the end there. Like,
yes.
Even, like, we just talked about how, like, even, like, Yuki's, like, kind of tormenting him isn't that hostile. It's, like, at the end, like, they're kind of not that hostile either. Like, Uo kind of, like, gives him, like, her standard kind of, like, encouraging smack and was like, it's about time. Hurry up and be a man. Like,
yeah.
Like, they're obviously not, like, furious at him. They're trying to encourage him to like stop fucking shit up, same as like Yuki is doing.
Pretty much. They're like, stop being a dipshit and go do this. Go do this
Get
thing.
your act together.
Yes.
And then you can go see Tohru.
I also like, I do also enjoy his resolve where he's like, I clearly have things to do.
Mm-hmm.
I never really thought about it until this time where it's like, yeah, there's like, you know, like the things that probably would make Tohru happy have nothing to do with him apologizing to her. Like, it does make sense. Like, she wants to be with him. There's like family shit that he needs to take care of, right? So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like Hana's statement where it's that like apologizing is meaningless because she doesn't blame you. Like,
yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's like you're not making amends for something. She's
yeah.
She doesn't think there's anything to make amends for. There's other stuff you need to do.
Mm-hmm. Like the things that she wants is to be with you. So, go take care of that shit, dum dum.
Yeah.
I say. And I can get behind it.
Yeah, it's like sort your baggage.
Check your baggage.
Yeah.
I also, speaking of baggage, I love how Yuki is like, when he comes home and like talks to Haru, he's like, everybody knows that Kyo has his baggage, but that's not important right now.
Yeah.
Goes to sass him. It's pretty great. It's also nice that people like acknowledge it. Characters like acknowledge his cat baggage now. Like they didn't used to do that. That's only a recent thing. We talked about Momiji doing that a couple episodes ago, and like Hiro and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People like that.
Yeah, because like, he says like Kyo has his own pain and circumstances, or whatever it was that he said. So
his own pride and prejudice. I mean,
yes. It's the alternate title.
Pain and circumstances. I mean, kind of, yes. I just feel like circumstances is like a very like such a you know, I don't know, Jane Austen period novel thing to say. It's really funny. I feel like that's everything we can say about Kyo, except he has shit to do to clean up his act. And Yuki has reached, as stated, peak asshole, which is great.
Yes. Yeah, it's like Shigeru says we have a black Yuki, but no, it's this asshole Yuki.
Yes. It's not quite the same.
Yeah.
Not the same level of uncontrollable rage. I feel like Yuki's rage is very calculated. It's completely different.
Yeah.
Haru is
I love
kind
his
of like...
I love his little like like evil smile at the student council, and Kakeru's like, wow, that smile is dark as hell.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to have to edit it, but I fucked up in my narration where it said Yuki gives a dark smile, and then Kakeru says that's dark as hell. Because I looked at it and then I read the dialogue. It's great, though. Yes, we should talk about Yuki in the second chapter, and Yuki and Machi.
Mm-hmm.
This is a kind of the resolve of, like, Yuki's deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he just wanted to be noticed by someone. He wanted Kyo to notice him, you know, like as a child, and now... Of course, that was
it's his. Yeah, all of this is like he even says like after like talking about his confrontation with Kyo, he's like, I'm a little proud of myself. Like it's kind of the culmination of his sort of self-reflection and character development.
Yeah. And now he's able to move on with love.
Mm-hmm. Even before we get to like the Machi stuff, where he's like, oh, I was able to like move on, and I had people supporting me.
Yes. He thinks of Kakeru, his BFF.
Yeah.
Kakeru also acknowledged him.
Yeah, the panel of Kakeru being like, do you want to cry into my manly bosom? And Yuki going, I'm going to punch you into the sun. Is like my perfect like summation of their relationship.
Pretty much, yes. Kakeru's like, I genuinely care about you. And Yuki's like, I also do, but stop. Like, that's like this. Yeah. I also love when he's buying the gift and complaining, or Yuki's like, I just don't want Hada-san's family to think that, like, to associate you with me, you know? It's wonderful. I think we talked about this in spoilers, but imagine the nurses being like, what is this parade of people visiting this person? Like, who is this?
There's so many people.
So many beautiful people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Kakeru continuing to be like calling the Somas beautiful. Like, he even calls like Kyo like
oh.
Even calls Kyo like the orange stud, and then
yes.
And then in the hospital, he's like, "What do you eat to get so beautiful?" Mabadashi.
He's the fourth wall. It's great. Kakeru's the embodiment of the fourth wall.
Yeah.
I like how Kakeru also acknowledges Yuki's growth and stuff, and he he helps Yuki talk about how he feels about Tohru in a way that's like it makes light of it, but it's like not non-threatening, you know?
Yeah.
He's good at doing that.
Yeah, it's the same kind of like making a joke in a potentially awkward situation. So.
I feel like he's done that.
It just keeps going to like she's his mama and like all this conversation. Yuki's like, please stop.
Stop the whole time. Yes. He's weak like a baby deer, and he's like, don't.
Yeah.
I like that Machi repeats that to her. She's like, even if you're weak like a baby deer, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I like how Machi's like obviously like very seriously listening to this conversation, even though they're all being like goofs.
Where she's like, you could see the look on her face in some parts of it where she's like, she's important to him. I should get her a gift because she's important to him. Like, you know?
Yeah.
It's very cute. And
It's
she's
sweet.
like...
It's sweet that she like her thought process went that far. It's like, you know, like this person I don't know but who has been very important to this person who's important to me and help them. I should get them a
Machi's
gift since they're
good
in the hospital right now. Like,
and...
yeah, I also like totally forget that she's younger than everyone else
Yes.
until she was talking about like Honda Senpai. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
she's
all
like a
right.
year younger than them. I was like, oh, yes, it's cute. I still like how she calls him president. It's great.
Yeah.
I always think of their scene, Machi and Yuki's scene, as the confession as being like what comes later. There's like another scene with them later that I think about, but I feel like this is like their actual confession to each other. It's very cute. They bring each other gifts. They meet in this like crowded train station, and she's just like, someone who you know helped you be the person you are, like, and even if you're weak, like, it doesn't matter because like that, I think that's how you found me, you know, like, it's very sweet.
Yeah,
it's very touching.
Yeah, it's sweet that they both like were just like randomly out shopping and spotted something that the other would like and just like immediately impulsively bought it.
Yes. And then called each other.
Yeah, in the scene where like Yuki gets to the station where she is and is like looking around for her, and you have the scene of her like looking around, and then when they meet eyes and he's smiling, it's just very sweet.
Her face is she's so wide-eyed, she starts to get embarrassed. It's very cute. I don't know how to describe that expression. I'm looking at, I don't know what page it is. It's like whatever, what you just said. When he meets her at the train station, he's smiling. He's like panting, like he was running to find her, and she's just been standing there waiting quietly. And then she says, it's like still surprised that he like came to find her, or sees, like, cares about her. It's cute.
Yeah.
It's also sad that Machi's family thinks that she's some kind of like villain for trying to kill her like baby brother. And it's like, no, she's the kind of person who's empathetic enough to like buy a gift for someone that she doesn't even know because she knows that she's important to somebody that she cares about. Like the opposite.
Yeah. Well, it was her being empathetic that even led to that, because it was her trying to cover her baby brother in a blanket because he looked cold. Like,
yes. Trying to like care for another person and just getting severely punished in the worst possible way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're right. I think it's kind of a Yuki and Machi's like shared kind of trait. Yuki's also like that. Like, he notices things that I think that hurt people. It's just that he couldn't really act on those things before. Like, he didn't have the you know, he was still dealing with his own issues where he couldn't really like have that psychological space for other people. But now he can.
It's like, yeah, I think the bringing back of the Ayame quote where he says, like, I think the weakness and kindness that you have are very precious. I think that's kind of like both of their thing. It's like that they've been able to maintain that like innate kindness and empathy for other people despite all the shit they gone through. That would be enough to, you know, beat that kind of kindness out of most people.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you were saying, it's like, you know, she was trying to be, you know, kind to her younger brother and got just punished for it. It's like that would be enough to make anyone go like, okay, I'll never be kind again.
Like, oh, so if I try to do like one nice thing, then I'm gonna get punished. Like, then nobody deserves my affection. Like, in spite of everything Yuki's been through, he's always like pushed himself to be empathetic to other people. Like, that's all his growth is all about. That
Yeah.
So it's nice.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, I was thinking to myself, we just need more real people like that. That would be nice.
Yeah. Be kind.
Yes.
That's the PSA of today's episode.
I loved this sentiment in the narration in I think it was the first chapter. Hold on, I'm just double checking. Yeah. I think it's kind of like Akito, but it runs through all the chapters, you know, ties everybody together, which is like, the whole thing is like, I wish I could have lived my life without making any wrong turns. And it's like, I wish I could have lived in a kind world without anxiety or fear, without hurting people, without hurting myself, only the right things. I wish I could have followed the shortest path to the kind world I wish for. That's wrong or that's stupid when it comes to other people's lives. You can't say that kind of irresponsible dreck. You can say that kind of irresponsible dreck as much as you want. I wish I could have lived my life without making any wrong turns, but that's impossible. A path like that doesn't exist. We fail, we trip, we get lost, we make mistakes, and little by little, one step at a time, we push forward. It's all we can do on our own 2 feet. Even if we get a little banged up, someday we'll reach something, we'll reach someone, we pray. And like, that's the whole, and it says, come on, it's time to start walking. That's the whole narration.
Yeah, I'd go so far as to call that the thesis statement of the series.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Because it touches on everything that we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like...
It brings back the hurting other people and getting hurt by them.
Yeah. Turns out all my joking about that was right about it being very important to the series. But
yeah.
It's... All of those things are touched on so many times. Like, failure, it's okay to fail, and people can move on. And the important thing is that you keep trying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it is the big... If there's one part of the series probably that puts that into... I mean, at least I've seen so far. There could be something at the end that we haven't... I don't remember or whatever, but I think if there's one thing that really summarizes the thesis of the series, it's probably this narration, which I think is why it's kind of separate. It's almost like it doesn't seem to really belong to a specific character. I think it could belong to Akito, but...
Yeah, I think it's meant to be like everybody's.
I think it's actually an author's narration as opposed to somebody's inner monologue. Because it kind of talks about like Kyo or whatever. It touches on all these things, but...
Yeah, I feel like it's supposed to be like everyone is thinking something along these lines right now, even if they're not thinking these exact words necessarily. Because like... Because like it starts off like with Yuki at the opening of the chapter, and then we see it again with Akito, and then it goes over like everyone looking worried and concerned, and then obviously it ends over Kyo.
It's good. I agree with you, and I felt the same way, and I very much enjoyed that piece of narration. Reading it was just nice, and it's a good sentiment, generally speaking, and summarizes the whole kind of main thesis statement or theme of the series as well. This like redemptive nature of change, and that it's never too late.
Yeah.
And it was nice. In summary, it was nice. I mean, has the quality of our analysis gone down in recent episodes? I don't know.
In summary, it's the good shit.
Did you know this series is a good series? Like, that's why we started this podcast. I'm trying to remember if there's other things to talk about.
Well, we haven't talked about Akito yet.
Yeah, not at all. Let's talk about Akito then.
Yep.
I mean, by like, are there other things to talk about? It's like, I know there are. I just need to remember what all the things are that we should talk about. Yes, we need to talk about Akito. Let's talk about Akito.
Yep.
Look at Akito go, leaving the house by herself.
She put on her big girl pants and went to the hospital.
She went to apologize, unlike some people.
Yeah.
Hint.
Well, she actually has something to apologize for.
She has a lot of things to apologize for. Yes, that's correct. And I think her apology would mean something.
Yeah.
Yeah. The scenes with her and Kureno are interesting. If this part of the series is, we've clearly passed we didn't really say anything last time, but I think we've clearly passed the like climax of the series. So all of this is the resolution for all the things that happened in the last like 4 chapters and previously. So Akito goes in and apologizes, and Kureno basically accepts her apology and asks if she's okay. That's like the first thing that he says after that.
Yeah. Yeah, those first panels were like the first thing he does is ask if Akito's okay, and Akito looks so startled by that. Like after everything that she did to him, he's still asking if she's okay.
I mean, Akito expects that everyone is going to hate her. Like the whole the whole like climax, like the dialogue, her dialogue in that part of the story with Tohru is all like, can't live in a world where people aren't guaranteed to love me all the time, you know. And I think, well, like as G kind of points out, you know, the two people that she was meanest to are the kind of people whose acceptance is going to guarantee that she's not going to feel that way, right?
Yeah. I also love her, like...
Her guilt over that is interesting, though.
Yeah. I also love her, like, kind of having, like, the dark thought, like, if I told him I wasn't okay, would he come back to me? And, like, all this stuff. Like, I like that it's not just, like, an immediate change for Akito. Like, she's obviously still struggling with her, you know, worse, you know, aspects. Yeah. Even, but she's...
I guess what I kind of meant by, like, it's supposed to be a resolution is, like, it doesn't feel like that, but it's kind of moving toward that. But, yeah, it doesn't seem like everything just overnight.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I just, like...
Yeah.
Like, she's trying. That's where we are right now, where she hadn't been before. So...
It's interesting how, like, sassy Momiji is to her. It's like this, he's also at peak sassiness.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, I really like his expressions throughout the conversation are interesting.
Good.
Like he stopped, like he sees her, and is actually like surprised to see her there.
Yes.
And like he hesitates and then approaches, and like starts off kind of like, you know, being, you know, kind of open and kind to Momiji. Like, did you come here by yourself? And then like is obviously kind of skeptical.
Yeah, he's skeptical.
For part of it.
Yeah, skeptical is a nice way to describe it. I described it as he's being kind of mean. Like he's like, really, like, you really think that?
Yeah, like I think he's like he's approaching because there's obviously like this is obviously
different,
interesting. Like she came on her own to the hospital
by herself. Also,
yeah, but he's like I think he's kind of like pushing her to see like if she's really trying or not. And then, like, when she starts, like, crying and saying that she hates herself, that's where he's like, okay, like,
he's like,
this is a genuine effort to be a better person,
I can see
and
that
I will help
need to
you.
be comforted. Let me tell you a story called The Very Foolish Traveler.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Momiji is like, it's okay that you... Momiji even says, like, it's okay that you made a mistake. It's okay that you hurt someone. You just have to be really nice to him from now on. Like, you have to do your best to have a good relationship with him from now on. Like... You know, Miji's like giving Akito the education that she never got on how to be a good person.
Yeah, and it's the follow through of that, you know, thesis statement we were just talking about. That, like, it's never too late to change. You can get up and start walking.
Yes.
And then I love the little conclusion of the, like, reaching out the hand scene from earlier with Tohru and Akito.
Yes. I always liked this little scene. Akito comes in the room and...
I also think this is, like... the first genuine Akito smile we've seen in the series.
Probably.
Aside from maybe some baby Akito.
Mine's covered with a post-it note,
like when...
so let me just take that off. Yeah, I think you're right. Because most of the time it's like really...
sinister.
Yes. I was going to say haughty. Yes. Sinister is good too. Yeah, it's like, so self-sac. Because Akito's like, motivation wasn't genuine kindness, right? It was always like in the port of like keeping power over the, you know, in the relationship that she has with everyone else. So like, yeah, why would she be like, this is a genuine interaction of like, you know, empathy and kindness as opposed to like any actions that we've seen her carry out before. This is like the Grinch's heart growing 3 sizes for Akito.
Yes.
You know? But yeah, I love where Tohru just holds out her hand, and then, you know, you see Akito approaching with her hand extended.
I love the 3 panels of like Akito's face, like before we see the hand extended. Like like she's looking in the room, and then she looks down, and then kind of like looks up, like shyly almost, and then sees like she's still extending her hand to her. And I also love that there's a stuffed bunny in Toru's bed that Momiji obviously gave her.
Obviously, of course, it came from him. That's not headcanon; it's a fact.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clearly there because he was.
I also love how Momiji immediately skips school to go see Tohru.
I know. He's like, later. I have other things to care about. Just like when he was like, why did I stay in here? Why was I like drawn to this person? When Akito left, and he's like, I can't hang out. I can't be with you anymore. Bye.
Yeah.
Which is very. He's good at protecting his, you know, emotional self. This is a lesson we can all learn from, I think. I want to say this is the 3rd Foolish Traveler beat. So we have a full 3 beat where it's the first one is Valentine's Day, when they're or like it's after, I guess, when they realized Tohru made all the chocolate and spent all her money that she owed to the school, and then had to work extra to pay it off and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time was when Kyo sort of confesses to himself that he's in love with her, which we just saw in the anime at the beach arc.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the third time.
Yeah.
This. I hope everybody can hear me flicking my manga around.
Yeah.
This
and I like how it's like introduced and concluded by Momiji.
Yes! Momiji's the storyteller we all needed. He doesn't even have to say it. It's like we know what the point is by now, right? Where it's like the things, and he kind of like talks around it when he's talking to Akito, where it's like, you know, doesn't matter the reason that Kureno and Tohru are kind of have this in their personalities. Like, it's just, it doesn't, hardship like that aren't the things that matter to them. Like, the things that matter are like being kind to other people. So this is that's a setup, and then realizing that the second one is like Kyo realizing, I don't know, it's like Kyo kind of realizing that about Tohru, and then this is Akito seeing those things too, and like, I guess, understanding more how people can be empathetic. Like, Akito's also never lived in a world where people were like, nobody was like particularly kind or accepting to her, you know, like they told her that she was going to be loved unconditionally, but like that's very like one-sided.
Yeah, it's like we just talked about how like Akito's never had like a kind motivation behind her actions, but it's like everyone dealing with her had ulterior motives too. Like,
yes, yeah, it seems like that. Yeah, the maid and all the other people, everybody who was like quote unquote nice to her or had any, they all had a motivation for using her in their life, essentially, which is unfortunate.
One other little thing I noticed with the Akito Momiji conversation, it's like at the end when he's giving her the handkerchief, like the first panel, like we see there is him like still got kind of that darker look on his face, but then he like smiles genuinely, and then we have the panel of Akito looking up, looking kind of startled and like tearing up some. It kind of made me think of the like just recently when Momiji's curse broke, and you know Akito's freaking out about like looking at her with those eyes. Where it kind of just made me think like she's looking up and like seeing like a normal, genuine human reaction rather than like all that kind of human interaction, rather than all the stuff.
Yeah,
it's like dictated by the curse or the lack of the curse.
Yeah, it's true. It's a warm smile instead of this like I don't know, like whatever sort of like manufactured adoration that would come with the curse. This is like what it's like to be like genuinely like looked on with kindness.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because it's sad.
Yeah, it's just the framing of it kind of made me think of that. So.
Yeah, it is reminiscent of that. The scene is reminiscent of that other scene as well, because Momiji is standing and Akito is sitting, so you have this like he's in a sort of position of power with her, but in a different way now, because now it's in this one of like empathy and like almost like sagely like teaching her about the world, as opposed to being like I don't know, like in control of their relationship, in a sense of like in control of her like self-worth and her identity in the one in the scene from before where his curse is broken. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's like before he was in a position of power by like having the ability not to care.
Yeah.
And like now he's kind of in a position of power by like offering that kindness anyway.
Yeah, it's true. Do we have more things to say about Akito right now? I guess there's that little scene where she's thinking about, you pointed out to me, I thought it was Shigure's narration, which I would have cut, but it's her narration where she's thinking about Tohru, you know, saying that you were like in, it says like, she said like you're there, like Tohru recognized how Akito was sort of like ostracized by being singled out as the god figure.
Because like the words Tohru said, like when she kind of like realized how Akito was feeling, was like you were there the whole time. So
yeah, it's not clear in the dialogue here, but in the Japanese version it's in quotation marks, like that she said you're here, you're there, or whatever it says exactly is in quotes. So like it makes more sense that it's like her.
Yeah, because I'm sure we talked about it in the previous chapters, but it's like I think kind of the big deal of like that connection there is that like Tohru is like, you know, just acknowledging her as a like fellow human being, not a, you know, god or a legacy or anything like that. So it's like seeing her as a person rather than
like a figurehead in any way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like as an equal rather than like someone who's above and therefore who's separate.
Above or like separate or outside or inside or whatever, you know, any of the above.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, actually, it says in that narration, like she didn't sit above me or whatever, she sat beside me or whatever, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point that you made.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Yuki. We talked about Yuki and Machi. We talked about Kyo and being a dumbass and Akito and Momiji. Let's talk about how great Grandpa Honda is for encouraging Yuki to beat up Kyo.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that? I mean,
I love that he like makes a fist and everything. You should let him have it.
Grandpa Honda knows what's up.
Yeah.
He knows that Kyo's in love with her. I mean,
he's the best grandpa.
He is. You know, others may be the best mom or dad, but he's the best grandpa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's also sweet, just like his first line with Yuki, where he's like, we'll take it from here. You should go home and rest.
Yeah. His interaction with Yuki's very cute.
Mm-hmm.
I like how Yuki's like, yeah, that guy's an idiot. And then he's like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, how he starts to like rant on about it all.
Yeah. He just listens like a nice grandpa. Listen to you rant. I don't think I have any other non-spoiler things to say. I do enjoy how everybody's worried about Tohru, of course. I mean, we know that they all love her, but
yeah,
you get the little scenes like Rin just like sitting there with her sketchbook all thrown away.
Yeah, this is the first time I noticed the sketchbook next to her, which is a nice touch.
I saw it immediately and was like, oh, she can't even draw because she's so upset.
Yeah. That's the thing, including Hiro in there is a nice touch too, because he's like, you know, not one of the ones you would immediately think of as being worried over Tohru, but you know, he's obviously come to like her.
Yeah,
the same as everyone else.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
Yeah.
We talked about this before. In summary, he's a good boy. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I have other things to say. Yeah. Thought I'd have more to say.
It's like I almost want to talk about Shigure, but I don't really have anything in particular to say.
Well,
he's just
I hope he's not drunk anymore. I mean,
just the scene where he's where they're talking about how Akito like went on her own and
talking to Atori.
He doesn't say much, but it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
he has this kind of like moment where he's thinking about how she acted after everything. Like, Atori's like, oh, hey, like, how'd your plan work out? And he's like, I don't know, I guess you could say I'm learning. Like,
yeah, it's like,
you know, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. It's like, I don't really have a lot to say, but he was there and things that he says are interesting.
Yeah,
but,
it's
like,
kind of like,
he
seems kind of reflective, but, you know, he plays things so close to the chest that it's hard to say exactly what he's being reflective about in particular.
Yeah. It seems to me to be like kind of about Akito, even though it's not really about. Hattori asks him about the whole circumstance, I guess, but I mean, I think Shigure is motivated by like his relationship with Akito, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems to be somewhat specific, I think, where he, to me at least, where he's like, yeah, I guess like I kind of got what I wanted, but I'm learning to compromise, like. So maybe it's still, like, I mean, there's still whatever, like 10 chapters left, so maybe he still hasn't gotten exactly what he wants. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's how you could interpret it. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, like, very short little piece of dialogue.
Yeah, like, yeah, it's worth mentioning, I think, as something interesting, but I don't really know what to say about it.
Yes, I agree with you. I've proposed some sentiments. We'll see. I think like there's more scenes with Shigure later in the story, so maybe something will get added onto that we can say kind of like about this overall arc in the story. But I feel like at this point it's still a little bit vague. Yeah. Even now.
Yeah. He's a vague character. It's what he does.
I like how Tori brought it up though, where he's like, "Yeah, so you fucking happy now?" And he's like, "Not really."
Yeah. Like he's like, "I'm feeling a little bad," and Tori's like, "A little."
Yes. Yes.
It's like a man got stabbed today.
Yeah. Someone got locked in a room and almost starved to death, and someone fell off a cliff and someone got stabbed. You feel a little bad? Hattori should have said.
Yeah.
He's like, none of those things were technically my fault.
Yeah.
All I said was, hey, can someone come live in my house?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure it didn't help, but I didn't do it directly.
Yeah. I wasn't holding the knife. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. It is interesting, and I don't know what to say particularly about it, but he's interesting. So
yeah.
Anybody else? I think that's it.
Yeah.
Then shall we talk about spoilers?
Sure.
Okay. Next time we're going to read 126 and 127. So we're back to 2.
Ooh.
Yay? Yes.
Classic.
Yeah. It's like retro. Let's stay together.
Yeah. Good old days.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago or
Back
whatever.
in my day, we read 2 chapters at a time.
We didn't do any of this 3-chapter nonsense. We didn't have anime breaks.
We walked uphill both ways to get to those chapters.
In the snow. Alright, good. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hello. We're back to talk about spoilers for this. For where we are. Howdy. I don't know. Actually, I don't have that many specific spoilers. I guess like the big one is Kyo's shit that he has to take care of is like going to talk to his father and Akito about the curse, about the confinement and whatnot. Particularly.
Yeah.
Kyo has to go take care of his shit, be a man and whatever, etc.
Yeah. Talk to his asshole father. One thing I thought of when you were talking about like the Yuki Machi scene, like seeming more like a confession than their later scene. Yeah, I do feel like this one feels kind of like the love confession, and I feel like the later one was he was going to be like, so about this curse stuff.
Yeah. We definitely joked about it in a spoiler where it's like, just kidding, I have something else that I want to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I never really thought about this one scene. I don't know why. Like, I guess because, well, the first time I read this, I was really more focused on like Kyo and Tohru's romantic relationship at this point. And now I feel like I have a much deeper appreciation for Yuki and his growth and Machi, and so this time I was like, wow, this is like the scene is so touching. Like they go and they meet at a train station, so romantic. Oh, they're like, oh, I'm glad you found me. Oh, I'm glad that you found me. It's because you're like that you found me. And then they cry. It's kind of a big deal. I never realized.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't think they like
it's understated.
Are in any doubts of how they feel about each other after this point. Like
this isn't like Kyo and Tohru's like real like confession and actually like I don't know, like the transition from being like I like you to like being in a relationship is like so drawn out because there's like the crazy like fight confession that they have that we just we just talked about, and then it's still like chapters and chapters from now before they actually like get to have their actual like discussion, you know.
Well, that's what happens when someone falls off a cliff in the middle of your confession.
Yeah, it's kind of puts a damper on things, I guess. Well, actually, I think what happens is you run away and say, I'm disillusioned. That definitely puts a damper on things.
Well, I just mean, like, when someone falls off a cliff in between the beginning and the resolution of your love confession, it takes a bit of time.
Yuki and Machi have this, like, very, I don't know, somehow, like, realistic an understated relationship where they're just like, I know I'm very convicted about how I feel for you, but like can't really show it or whatever, where and then they're just like really nice, like
it's kind of nice and quiet and low drama, which is probably what both of them need compared to everything else going on in their lives.
Yeah, I don't know, it's
like
nice.
There's no like weird misunderstandings or
there's no baggage. They didn't, know each other's families or any shit beforehand, It's just like, you notice me and I like you and I care about you and I notice things and think about you and I saw this thing and thought about you and like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There is more Akito and Shigure stuff. Whatever I said before about not really knowing if there's resolution to their stuff is the same. It's the same as it was 5 seconds ago. I wasn't lying, like I sometimes do, to obfuscate the truth about spoilers. But no, I don't know if there's more. We'll see. We only have a couple chapters to go. It'll be fine.
Yeah, there's definitely more stuff with them. It's just
there's at least one more big scene.
It's another. I remember, like part of that scene is like Akito still being pretty Akito, which is like something I said I liked in this chapter, where like it's not like a instant switch flip with her like being a better person. It's like it's obviously still an ongoing
I think
effort.
By the end of the series it's obvious that Akito isn't fully changed. Akito's made significant by the end of the series Akito has made significant like motions to demonstrate that she's trying to change and has done some things that are very kind, like, you know, like not forcing Kyo to be confined and all these other things, like has done some stuff. It's clear that she's like trying to be a better person and like, you know, learn about how to be a better person. Where was I going with my rant? Let me think. But it's not like she's there. It's not like she's a nicer person or a kinder person.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that at the end of the series, Rin is like, no, I'm not okay with this. Like, still, I really enjoy that. It like Tohru has to go and kind of comfort her, which is nice.
Yeah, I like it's a slow process. Like that's part of the like thesis of the thing too. It's like you can change any time, but it's, you know, it's hard. It takes work, and, you know, not everyone's going to be willing to accept it. But it's still worth doing. So.
Yes.
So yeah, I like that we see, like, you know, the slow struggle of Akito trying to be a better person, and that like not everyone's like immediately on board with that. Like even the rest of the Zodiac, who's more like, you know, okay, I guess. Like they're still not obviously like about to be besties with Akito. Like.
No, I don't think that's the case. But I think that the important thing is that it's recognizable that Akito is trying, which is again part of the thesis as stated. So
yeah,
there's a realism to the amount of change that Akito can go through before the series ends. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing that again.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any other things that are like directly foreshadowed by these chapters. Should we talk about what's coming next?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know exactly.
I also have to check. Next time, Kyo is going to go visit his dad. Here's what my description says. Kyo goes to visit his dad, and it says there's a Uo seeing Akito and like Kureno at the hospital.
Oh yeah.
So that's gonna happen. So some more, you know, healing time for Akito.
Yeah. More catharsis.
Then after that, next episode will be 4 chapters again. Yay. And it's there's like this weird chapter where everybody's kind of like having these conversations, and like it's the continued healing, and then we have Kyo's confession after Tohru leaves the hospital and the curse breaks. That extends into the following chapter, and there's like the myth rewritten, right? And Yuki's stuff with Machi, according to this list.
Cool.
Yeah. I wonder what spoilers we'll have then. Probably nothing.
Very few.
Yeah. Well, after that, there's only 2 more episodes, and then we'll have to do a finale special like we did before.
Yay.
I was looking at the beach when we were writing the beach thing, and I was like, oh, there's like after this was our mid-series special. So where the beach, where the anime is at now, is where we were in the middle. So we're in the middle of starting. It is exciting. We've done so many things. We talked for so many hours about the show.
Yeah.
This series. What are we doing? I mean,
we talked for so many hours about not this show. Also,
that's true. Yeah, good point.
About fireworks and animals,
and musicals, just general life. Lots of like dating ourselves, technology, and movie jokes.
Yeah.
We haven't made a Holes reference in a long time. What was the reason that we talked about holes in the first place?
I can't remember.
Oh, because Hero threw the shoe.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, a shoe falls out of the sky, and you were like, isn't that the inciting incident of holes? And I think I laughed for like 3 hours because it was hilarious. It's like, yeah, that is what happened. That's really funny. Anyway, yeah. Continuity.
Stay tuned again for our Holes podcast.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Since we don't have anything else to talk about other than animals and holes, I guess, then it's probably time to say goodbye. So we'll see you next time for 126 and 127.
Bye-bye.
Bye. What are you up to? Strawberries? Thank you. We haven't even started recording yet. I'm going to be here for a while. Well, there was a technical issue and now we're gabbing. Hi. No, he's taking my strawberries away. No,
she needs that. Mine. How's she going to get through the podcast?
Bye. I know, I need energy.